Well, hello, everyone. There has been a delay, even beyond what I anticipated. My cameras that were all set up decided to reverse themselves, but that's what happens when you either only stream in private or haven't streamed in a long time. So that's what happens, I suppose. All right. To go through just a few things at the top of this situation here. This is just a general statement. I do my very best to be generous, attentive, and thorough while my amazing helpers, both physical and angelic and etheric, stand by extremely patiently. Please do us all the honor of respecting our efforts with appropriate energetic compensation for the time and care you receive. Liking or disliking the video is extremely helpful. Commenting is even better, no matter what the comment is. Subscribing is amazing. And if you hit the bell icon, you are a legend. Of course, if your energy language is green, and this part apparently is cut off, please go and take a gander at the information box. There are links there where you can offer tips, donations, etc. Energy is energy and reciprocal is reciprocal. And so at least for the time being, that's all of the stuff I need to say, except, one second here. Give me 1 second here. Ooh, ooh. Do, 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 do. The next thing I have to say is another little disclaimer. I trust my guides and angels immensely, but I am, of course, not a perfect person. Please take any information here given with love into account, but do not let it be your only source of information and assistance. Do your own research, consult professionals, especially for matters that relate to your health and safety. Please let these readings serve as entertainment, joyful engagement, topics of extreme contemplation even, but do not ever allow them to serve as the final word in any decision. If you absolutely do not know where to go, listen to your gut and listen to God's source. God's source is never going to do anything to harm you. Thank you for your kindness, love, light, health, and humor. End of statement. Okay. It's been a while since I've been in this room, so I'm going to clear. I am going to clear the energy with sound. If you have allergies or sensitivities and you can't use sage, or even better, in my opinion, Palo Santo, you can use sound to clear your space. You can use light to clear your space. You can use your own bodily movements to clear your space. Nature does it all the time. One of my favorites outside, one of my favorite energy cleansers that exist sort of a lot of places are crickets. They sit there, and that chirping, of course, means things to them, but it also means a great deal for us. Oh, golly, I'm glad you can hear me now. Okay, let's see here. Let me go back and read the comments that I can see at this point. Hello, Miss Cat. Hello, Miss Pixie Dust. And then you guys were chatting with each other. I was crackly. In some places, apparently now not too terribly crackly. Yes, welcome back, you two, as well. Delightful as ever to see you. Miss you, ladies. All right, there we go. How are the two of you tonight? This morning, etc. To morning is what I almost said. I'm sure there's a delay. Good. You were really bored? I don't, oh, that's about a missing hanging. Yup. I mean, uh, I know Miss Cat is super social. I see her a lot of places. I do a lot of quiet observationals. I think it's fantastic to learn from others. So I see her everywhere helping everyone on the internet. It feels like, not literally, but she's a mod for so many people, which is awesome. I believe if the world were fair, especially for those larger channels, mods would be reimbursed. And I hope that some people do um, the service of taking care of their people if they're able to. And then, while I'm sure Pix maybe is saying she was bored, um, she's remodeled like a whole house. Now, not literally since the last stream. There have been some live streams that occurred here since the last public one that were then immediately privated. Um, Pix was in attendance for a couple of those for sure. We did some case reading practice for true crime situations, and interesting things developed from one of those situations, and that made me nervous. The excellent news about that, and I think Pix would affirm this or confirm this, the cases that we were practicing on, we did extremely well. um, Accuracy was pretty good. Um, and drew some interest from outside sources. So, um, so there have been a few lives here, and then there have been a few lives on another platform, but mostly I have been gone a learning things and healing, both physically and emotionally. It's really interesting to experience a lot of death from a medium's perspective, or sensitive, or whatever you want to call someone like me, because in some ways, of course, it's more reassuring, and in other ways it's by far more torturous, which is interesting. And I'm definitely aligned, and have been aligned this year, to learn an awful lot about that. I've had a time period in my life like this previously, um, but it was a very long time ago. And whilst it was very hard, I do know, like, it was monstrous at that time. Then, like, the next 4 or 5 years after that period of time, there was so much growth just in life and in skill that it was amazing, right? Just like death everywhere brings growth, from a micro to a macro level. That's how it works. But for me this year, the people that are in this room at least already know, of course, that I lost a dear partner in February, and then like someone identified as like close to like a sister in March, and then there has not been a month since where I haven't lost at least one close being. Um, my cat, my kitty cat Familiar. Now she was quite old, but she was healthy until the day, which was fantastic and sad and interesting. And her crossing was, um, I've seen a lot of animals pass into non-physical, but I'd never seen anything like this. It was gorgeous. And then, um, so she was old, but then we had a doggie that was not quite 5 that again was fine until her very last day, and then stuff went horribly awry. And then I've lost, hold on, I've got to take the body count here. That was 2, 3, 4. I have lost 3 other, um, maybe not like family people, but very people that I worked with like constantly on a very intimate level in my arts jobs, for 3 decades. Um, so we haven't missed a month yet. There hasn't been a month missed, and some months there have been 2. So that's been interesting, and you barely have time to mourn one before the next comes, and so the process is interesting as well. And yeah, interesting is the best way to put it. Um, Painful too, because some of them I saw coming for a while, which is always scary because you're waiting then. And it wasn't a situation where like doctors were saying this or anything like that. It was just spirit, right? That was lining it up. But it felt like loving an innocent person on death row or something. It's a challenge, and it's something that I'm clearly supposed to learn a lot from, um, at this time. Which is why in our group chat earlier, when I went hard, hard in the paint on sometimes, you have to get buried in a pile of dirt 6 feet under and covered in manure to grow. And we don't tend to like that as humans, but um, we flourish often after that transpires. So I was not in any manner trying to be rough or hypocritical because it's happening everywhere. Let's see. Yeah, Joe. Okay, so Joe Black. Here's the thing, because he was a big part of here. Um, Initially, I was trying to very much honor him because he had always been extraordinarily private about his online life, right? Like he never told anybody his name, he never showed anybody his face, which was important to his career in a lot of ways. And um, so, I mean, in some ways, that is one of the biggest quandaries too that I have, even still a little bit in talking about it much publicly. I don't know um, how, where the lines are, that he would prefer at this point. Some things, like if people have questions, some can be answered, some I probably wouldn't until I sort of figure out uh, what he would want. He was a very big believer in education of all sorts, so I'm certain he would love that situation to be utilized for that. But how much and where the lines are, I struggle to understand. And so, yeah, no, I don't think the conversation is necessary, right? Nobody is owed anybody's story. But the thing is, um, especially in a space like this, it's extraordinarily useful to understand um, what happened in the short period of time leading up to it. And I'm talking about like on an energetic level, the things that I can wrap my head around about about that situation on an energetic level, it's a really interesting thing. And whilst very hard and sad from a human perspective, it is extremely reassuring from like the perspective of trusting in God's source and um and seeing how far in advance God is trying to take care of you, even in situations like that. And I'm talking about the ones that pass into non-physical and the ones that stay behind. Yes, the process. That would probably be more succinct. Um, but so yeah, the way all of that was aligned would be absolute poetry if it was in a storybook, right? Absolute poetry. And yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. So, oh, okay, here's another thing I need to say, and I'll say it mostly because I can then snippet that out and post it on the channel separately later. Um, I have sort of a new business manager, at least for this type of presence for like online and remote readings and things. Um, because I've tried, and it's no one's fault but my own, with adults to ask them to help me um, remember to be more logical about reciprocal energy in the form of money and taking care of my family and things like that when it's hard for me because I think God-given gifts like should be shared. Um, However, people keep pointing out to me that yes, they should be. And so some people's God-given gifts are money that you don't have, and that's just energy too. And so it should be an exchange. But when adults point it out, while I understand it logically, I struggle against it and then wind up breaking the rules and yada, yada, yada. However, a young person, very near and dear to my life, approached me just very recently and just sort of said, "Hey, um, I understand the things that you did on the internet over the last few years because even though you had a solid business in person, you hadn't had enough information on the internet. And I understand why you wanted to build at least trust about the product. I've never been so far able to build trust about consistency on the platform yet, but about the product, I think I have. And he was pointing that out. And so he sort of said, "You got to stop it, mom." See, that's who my business manager is. You've got to stop it. I understand giving people a free first reading, but you should give them 20 minutes. And then if they want to continue, it should be this much plus a little discount because it's the first reading. With family, I understand you give the discount, right? Or with the people that you that like Pixie that helped with your merch, right? They deserve a discount, but they don't deserve, it for free, mom. You have to stop it. You have to understand that there's value in what you do. And even if sometimes you don't see the value and you worry that you're encouraging people to waste their money, if they want to spend their money and that makes them happy, how is that any of your business? And because he's 10 and because I love him and almost never deny him anything, I'm really optimistic that with him as a very excited, very excited promotional agent, those changes might actually manage to come into effect, which is so interesting. We'll see how it goes. Um, but the rules my manager hath set so far, right, are first readings are, of course, free for the first 20 minutes because I do tend to give a lot of time. After that, it would be a $20 fee because often first readings tend to go really long because I'm trying to connect everybody's energy for the first time and things. And then he sort of gave me a list that will be posted in the future. But that came from my very sensible child who just said, "Why are you struggling to do all these other jobs when you could make money doing the thing you're good at?" And because he's infinitely smarter than I am, we're going to try this. Which part of the process? So Pixie says that's the exact part of the process I was stuck in when you rescued me. Well, you rescued you, but what part of the process? Yes, he is a wise boy. He's a very wise boy. I I, I knew when I was very early in the pregnancy that in terms of being sensible, he was far more naturally sensible than I was because immediately I wanted to eat regularly, sleep regularly, um, like the balance immediately corrected or the imbalance that I have always entertained. And in like my life living in self-processing and self-care, um, and pretty much as soon then as he was born, my body returned to the former state. So like, and then I've lost other children, and I guess you guys are mothers too, so you feel their personality. But he, from the beginning, was way more sensible. Part where you question your faith. Did I say that? Did I say I questioned my faith? What did I say exactly? I didn't listen to me. What did I say? I didn't. Okay. It's interesting. I haven't questioned my faith. I've just struggled to understand parts of the process that are very simplistic for me ordinarily. And I don't just mean reading other people, I mean when I've lost other people in my life that are close to me. But this time the process changed, and just distinctly. Some of that is because as my skill sets develop, difficulty of knowing things, and then also, even in hindsight, putting together that you knew even more than you thought you did, um, and then not being able to do a darn thing about it is rough. It's how you put it. It's how I put it, not really question it, but for me, I was angry at God. Okay. Yeah. So Pixie and I talked earlier today because something clicked for me just today about, um, like I knew, like I had long ago, especially in regards to Joe Black, entered the phases of grief where I was angry at myself, right? And I couldn't figure out really what some of my blocks were because I knew I was angry with myself and I'd processed a lot of things. And and then of course, like we're all aware that we can be rationally or irrationally angry at someone who dies just because we do that as humans. But what I didn't realize is because I was trying very hard to tell him, this is it. Like something you must act or something very horrible is going horrible for us anyway, right? It's not horrible to die. It's not horrible to return to source. But from our perspective, we're going to be ripped apart away from each other entirely. Like you have to do something, right? And so we were actively having that argument for a week or so. And in his gentle Virgosity, he's a true Virgo. And while I don't subscribe to um, everything about horoscopes, there are some things that are definitely, relatively consistent, of course, chart depending, human depending, but about Virgos. And they need a lot of time to make decisions, especially when they feel frightened. And and then they also get really stubborn about demanding the time to do that. And so we were in an argument where um, I kept I kept saying, like, this what happened to your mother is about to happen to you. You've got to stop this. Like, and he argued every point. And so the reason I was angry with myself is during that week, because I was angry and I'd worked on him and worked on him, worked on him, and tried to talk him into getting help and tell him what I could see, what was going awry, and calling his friends to his home. Like, um, after a few days, 5 days of that, he did have me a little convinced. He seemed a tiny bit better. And then, so I also just stopped fighting because it wasn't something I was going to win. And so I was sort of throwing a fit and like keeping an eye on him, but also just doing other things because it was like, fine, like if you're not going to listen, which I understand, it's your choice, like, um, then I'm going to go do this because it's just too painful to stand here and just watch this happen. So, um, we were mid couple fight. So the anger that naturally comes, the anger that naturally comes when we lose someone, both at ourselves and at the other person, happened. And then we had this unresolved couple fight that we literally had no way of exactly duking out, right? And also felt unfair to fight at that point. So today is when I realized, oh, I'm more than one kind of angry. And it's a huge block for me. Did you say Pix? Did you say amen about Virgos? I'm asking because Mr. Dust is a Virgo. Yeah, and he's male. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I know. Um, I was telling Pixie earlier, even I know it's hypocritical because we all do that to some extent, right? We all put off things that either seem like a pain in the butt, or we think, oh, I'm overreacting, or we're chronically ill, and it's just like, well, what are they going to do about it? Like, so those things do happen for all of us, right? But I also think some of us at least try really hard when we have loved ones to at least know, hey, I don't want to leave you. So, like, this is this level scary, and I guess it's time to try and do something. So, um, but I'm sure as a nurse, like, Kat saw everybody be stubborn. Like, I don't think it was probably just the boys. Because I know I've been stubborn in the hospital a lot. And some of his friends were really enraged that he didn't get help. And like on an energetic level, I understand like maybe why it wasn't supposed to happen, because I am not really sure in this case if he would have survived anyway, and he would have been like enraged if he'd passed in the hospital, if he'd crossed in a non-physical in the hospital, um, where we couldn't be seeing each other on camera because we were apart at the time, where he was not comfortable, where he wasn't surrounded by his things, he would have been infuriated. And so I do realize that there's a high likelihood that had he gone to the hospital, they might have been able to help him temporarily, but then the next thing that happened might have still been a problem. And thusly, he wouldn't have gotten to end his life on his terms. And his terms were always pretty important to him. I mean, we all are, but some people value them, I think, more strongly than others. And I do understand too that sometimes we have multiple off ramps, depending on sort of what our life plans look like and things. Sometimes, just like we have on ramps for opportunities, and we often get more than one chance at things, we have off ramps as well. And so it could have been an off ramp he avoided, but I'm not sure at what cost. You thought it's just your husband? No. See, I have a Virgoian father, um, and I have also, after I was done, like, in my youth with a Scorpio addiction for the most part, like, I dated a lot of Virgos, and there's a lot of Virgo in my chart too, so, um and they're also just so yummy, like, people think that, like, because, um, of the whole, like, virginal implication, that's not really what Virgo means. I mean, yes, it's the virgin, but it's like it's supposed to mean the one that is prime for the plucking, and they genuinely are most of the time. And because they spend so much time thinking about things. Ooh, when they decide to make a plan and get all tactical about anything, like, they're gonna make it an enjoyable whatever it is. You've had 2 off-ramps? Do you mean, like, near-death experiences? Like, did you actually are you saying, like, you act did you actually did you code, I guess is the question I'm asking, Pixie. I was trying to figure out how to ask it more gently, but should have. Is it too private to ask what that was? Hello, shrinkflation. I hope you're having a lovely, um, I don't know where you are. So, what time of day is it in your neighborhood? I like the name. I'm musing over the name shrinkflation, and I'm enjoying it a great deal. Oof. Hit the first. Okay, so Pixie is speaking about off ramps. She did not code, but 2 times she's saying she should have transitioned. First was being hit by a car going 55. The second was hitting a tree, and the only thing that saved me, per the doctors, was my pillow. Are you talking about, like, something you sat on in the car? I've definitely had things like what you're talking about, like, where I know my angel team is probably, like, crazy frustrated with me to lift me up out of a tremendous number of stupid situations. Um, and I have had out of many out of body experiences, but I don't believe they told me something happened at one visit, but, like, I never heard the word that, like, I never heard that I coded or anything, so I'm not but they wouldn't speak about it either, so I don't really know. But, I don't have any memory of that particular situation, so No, when I was a teen and my sister and I went out, I always took my pillow and would lay down on the back seat. Ah. And it flew, like, to protect you from the steering wheel or something? Like, it was like, airbag before airbags or something like that? Okay, well, we should chat. I think I'm gonna start at least shuffling some things because I know if we're not gonna do if nobody wants a personal reading, Pix and I talked about, um, practicing on cases. Okay, here's the rest of the Pixie story. So I took it when we went riding with her peeps. When I saw we were going to hit the tree, I threw the pillow up on my face. That is awesome. That is awesome. Here's the rest of the story. Still broke my nose bad and both femurs. Ay, ay, ay. But doctor said it would have killed me had I not had my pillow. Yep. Things are, it's crazy how we're both really sturdy as humans and also very fragile, and we never quite know which moment's going to be which, no matter like how high our quality of care for ourselves is. Little friends, little friends. And the first one, if my sister had not given me her helmet to wear, a doctor said I would have died. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had I've had those things. Um, like the trapeze incident and a couple of car wrecks that were sort of like that. It put a 1-inch C-shaped cut in the helmet. Woof! Yep, good angel teams, man. Thank you all angel teams everywhere. I learned that's another thing I've learned a lot about, like, even when I'm away from this channel, like, I don't just, like, sort of stop. I'm always, like, taking classes or just, like, hanging with spirit and learning things, right? And I had never heard them use the term grid angel, which is at least was my energetic how I interpreted what they said, um, until like the last several months, and they sort of explained their grid system, almost like how when people talk about like if they're empaths and there's all these things on the internet about there's this many types of empaths and some are um, some work energy lines, some work locales, just being there, etc. um, Ever since then you've wondered why you're here. I mean, I think there's a lot of children that are here because you stayed. You were 12 and 15 during those accidents. So grid angels, it's like zone defense. So we all have like a care team of our own, and then sometimes we even then have sort of a family group as well, like that oversees like our family or whatever cluster people we're in. But then there are grid angels that like work zones of land, right? Like I mean, I don't know the literal measurements, right? But like they're every 5 city blocks or something in all directions. And so when things go awry, if even though angels are so like boundless in comparison to us, if there's help needed, um, they can step in. It's sort of like they're the EMTs and police and public servants of angels. Yeah, a grid worker. I did use that for you, Kat, because when we were watching the stuff about, I think it was about empaths, and um, you were speaking, especially at that time, a lot about. Um, this is what Kat said. Actually, I should. Um, term use. Yeah. So um, we were talking about the types of empaths. Yeah, I used grid worker for you for sure, because at that time you were talking about how you sort of like there's a couple of places you really love to travel, and if you could, you'd be there at least once a year, and it's and while you love your family and stuff, it's not directly related to them, right? Like it's the location. And so that when they talk about humans and empathy type people being grid workers, it's because they're working those energy lines, and that's why they're drawn to whatever pattern it is or zones they want to attend to. Their energy is needed there. So at the time, you were especially talking about that kind of stuff. And like in your dreams and like spiritual practicum in your non waking hours, you were doing at that time at least like a lot of flying back and forth to between very specific locations as well. So, um, well, I think probably first of all, like when they say on those videos there are 9 types of empath, they're probably like a million types of empath. I don't really know, but like of the list, right? That was one of the things that it seemed like you truly were or are. I don't know how you feel about it though. It's your life, your body, and your energy. You would think stuff like what? Pics? Oh, why you were in your body. Yeah, I had that problem and I didn't stay in my body, when I was younger. Also, like, when I was, like, 2, if I was going under, like, a door frame in a home that was 10 feet tall, I would duck every time I went under because um my energy body, I felt like, like at the time I didn't really know. I just knew, oh, I don't want to hit myself like um up there. But it was that my energy body was so extended that I felt like I needed to duck. And I've struggled, like, I mean, for this life for me is a lot of it been you have to be okay with being in a body if you want to be on Earth, on good old Earth. Um, so you better practice. I'm sure, Kat, that like Kat said, I'm pretty much a homebody now, and I'm sure it feels that way. But like I know, like even hasn't it even been in the last year that like you visited your sis and stuff? I mean, I know to you that might feel like restrictive. To me, a lot of times I don't leave the same like 15 by 15 space very often. And what's fascinating is how much life and spirit and even crazy chaos can come into that space. Eventually, if you don't go out, it all comes to you. If you're paying attention, it's crazy. 18 months. Okay. 18 months. Well, I hope if it's driving you crazy that you find either an outlet if you can't really get out. Um, I hope you find an outlet that feels expansive, um, mentally and spiritually and emotionally. Um, I do a lot of that and enjoy a lot of that kind of activities, things that I feel that are expansive, like, and engaging with others just from home. And thank goodness we live in a technological era that allows for that. But even just sitting in your room by yourself, like, there's so much interaction that can happen. But, you know, even more so if what you want to do is get out and travel, I hope that you're able to do that. I still have that ring I got you from, like, it still has your name on it, but they sent it here, which was cute. That lady was so cute because I'd ordered from her a lot of times, and she just was like, "She put the wrong address." And so changed it, trying to be like a lovely, conscientious worker. And that was not the intention. Um, Pixie, when you were talking about how am I touching the ground, it's just strange. Um, Joe Black, like, told a story over and over and over again about how when he was little, like, he remembered that he could fly, man. He remembered it, and he was going crazy, that he couldn't figure out how to basically, for lack of a better term, engage his flight gear. Like, he kept, and he said it wasn't like just like a little kid just experimenting and jumping off things. It was like he thought about it for hours before he would try a new approach, sort of like a little baby Wright brothers, right? Like jumping off the backs of couches, jumping off of high staircases, because running really fast, like, because he was convinced that, like, he just didn't know how to hit the ignition switch for flying in this situation, and was driven crazy, like, for a large portion of his early childhood trying to figure out how to re-engage flight. Guys, don't leave me alone that long because I binged conspiracy shit for a while. Um, yeah. I mean, it's so interesting, like, what we all individually decide what we think is conspiratorial and what's legit, and we all have very different opinions, but, um, I do think it's cool. We're still, I say we, um, um, I I mean, me and at least another one or two of his friends, he really wanted to write a book of some kind or other. And he's got so much writing. Now, some of it, because family stuff was very complex, um, some of it is just lost to people that just discarded it, which was very hard. But because he was a great orator, right? He told a lot of um, oral folk tales. He did send me a lot of the things he was trying to write, trying to organize something. He really wanted to represent his country because he felt like there are some great writers from there, but he wanted to represent that place. And so there are a couple of us that are hoping to, at some point, make some sort of compilation book or short stories or something. Um, and like, I think about the flying story a lot because I think that's going to have something to do with the title eventually, like the boy that remembered flight or something like that. I never told anyone all the strange things I wondered because I thought they would think I was crazy. You told me a couple things. You're like, in the middle of the night, you're like, what do you think about this? It's like, um flat earth stuff. Yeah, I think you did actually ask me, all right, do you think the earth is flat? I'm tired and I just wanna know. It's like, "What? Hold on one second. I need to turn our air conditioning warmer. One second." Okie dokie. I found socks too, which was, I think, going to be important. Binging Flat Earth. I wish I could explain how I felt. This is my body. I know that, but I always said in my head, in this body. Yeah. I often used to say our body and we a lot, which when I was younger. Um, and just to clarify, I'm not somebody that's been like diagnosed with DID or anything like that. It's um, I find those people very intelligent and fascinating and really have questions on a soul level about that. But that's not what I had going on. I think for me, it was like from the beginning, because I was always seeing spirits and stuff. I think that's who I was talking about. Kat says, I am just true crime stuff. Yeah, that was going to be a question that I asked next was what is everybody watching? Which cases like have them wrapped? Some of the people make a good point. We're talking about the conspiracy. Then everyone went poof and I was browsing and there it was. And I was so bored. But I will say some of these people argue a good case. It's like, who knows, but nothing would surprise me. I mean, to some degree, yes. Yes. Uh, just in the last year, like before even like all of the death knolls, like I've had an interesting year that, you know, if I like had a big channel and said pink clouds come in my room, like um right, they would either think I was a nutter or um fabricating or I don't know what. Like I will say this and I don't care if people say I'm crazy, but people are idiots if they think we're the only beings in this universe. Yeah, I don't think you're nuts. I think it's an incredibly arrogant thing for us to think that we're it. And that's so arrogant. And it's so very human to be like, yeah, that's all it plays. It's just for us. Like, but we are arrogant species. Hello to whomever else is watching. Don't know why my little Poppet emoji isn't there. Can I edit it? Yes, I can. Hmm. I don't know why it doesn't pop up. That's all right. They are. I've had them for a really long time, but because we're coming up on spooky season and because this was already going to be a late stream, but then when the camera stuff flipped out, like, um, I knew it was going to be really late. So I thought, oh, I'll do my night owls. Like, they usually come out maybe October 1st, but spooky season. It's the spooky month. They're also those cool expandable thingies, right? Like the ones that, like, if you get Ehlers-Danlos swollen or arthritic swollen or fibromyalgia swollen or all of the things that I can get, um, they always fit. It is I, David M. Butcher, the butcherist, not butcherist, butcherist of David M's. David Butcher is not an orange nor an egg. Side effects of David M. Butcher Bay be turning into David M. Butcher. Does anybody want to guess who this is? Because I know who that is. That's my business manager, David M. Butcher, otherwise known as Honest Abe M. Butcher. Egg boy. See, egg boy, they all greet you. Pixie is we're back on conspiracy. Now, if it is flat and the government is keeping a secret, I mean that would really surprise you, LMAO. It would be mass hysteria. Everything has side effects these days. So Kat says, oh, I missed it. Egg boy. Everything has side effects these days. Do better. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to become David M. Butcher. Like, it might be pleasant. David M. Butcher needs to get into like a D&D game because David M. Butcher has some serious storytelling to let leak out into the world very clearly. So Pixie says, "Little turd had me crying the other night." David M. Butcher, that is in regards to you, sir. When you had Pixie laughing, crying, coughing like she was honking a little bit from your comedy stylings. Anytime I've been on the phone since he decided to be a business manager, like, he comes running to me and says, "Is that a rating?" Number one. And then number two, he wants to know which person I'm speaking to because he wants to know if it's a good laugher, basically, because he's looking for you. He's looking for his audience. I can hear you, Vampire Butcher, giggling from down the hall. And I'm glad you're here, and I love you. But here in a minute, we're probably going to read cases, so you can hang until then. Thumbs up? Thumbs down for Skibbity Toilet? Thumbs down. No retorts? Are you typing your next retort, Mr. Butcher? Yes, I can tell from the giggle. I missed whatever that was because I have a headset on. He's funny. He's funny. He's funny. Um, Comedy family, but golly, he learned fast, but that never surprises me. Oh, um, there's a robot voice outside of my room saying David Butcher, David M. Butcher. Okay, Mr. Butcher, this is your last time to make any comments, quips, political statements before we sort of move on to uh, true crime. And I'll do some shuffling if you would like an opportunity to quip. Hi, David M. Butcher. Here it is. The Butcherist of David M's. David Butcher is not an orange nor an egg. Side effects of David M. Butcher may be urine, color changes, hair growth, vanishing fingerprints, and gamb, which I think was going to be gambling addiction, but I like it better as just gamb. Nobody wants to get gamb. Please don't take David M. Butcher. He's got an excellent laugh, though, David M. Butcher. See, look, you got her on the fingerprints. You got the laugh, man. Thumbs up. Okay, so these guys have been pretty actively used recently. So these guys, yippee! The world's best payment is a laugh, which I don't disagree. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. Don't you know all the world wants to laugh? My dad said, be a doctor, my son, but be a comical one. They'll be standing in line. We need to teach David M. Butcher that song. The game Gamb? There's a game called Gamb? Cat says, oh, hold on. David M. Butcher shall being spontaneously combusting in 25.64 seconds. All right, David M., when you get to the 10-second mark, count us down. Cat says, a bit fond of the game, too. Oh, hold on. Gamb, which I would like to know. Okay, I thought I clicked on Gamb, but he's counting down. Hold on. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. David Boom Butcher. Thank you, David, for visiting the live. We'll look forward to seeing you soon. You're well loved, David M. Butcher. You're well loved. Kat, are you saying that to David M. Butcher? Or are you going tonight? I can't tell because I want to know about Gamb. I'm gonna mute 1 second here. To DMB. Night, DMB. Boom. No. DMB. Be gone, sir. Oh, wow. Oh, look, he changed his image. He is no longer honest Abe M. Butcher. He's David Boom Butcher. Boom. Okay. No. Okay. David Boom. Don't make me turn this car around, David M. Boom. David Boom Butcher. The hacker of the future, my little egg. I am going to shuffle this deck next because it is my newest baby and it's very pretty. I will be right back. Okie dokie artichokes. Let me see what y'all are talking about. I think cases. Gambling. Okay. Um, Good. You caught up with the Carly case. Okay, so what everybody's saying, because we were trying to head towards what cases we're all watching. So, um, Sneak Eye Watch, the Carly case. I've been watching Maddie Soto. We know the creep that did it. I'm curious about mom's culpability. Sentence today, life, no parole. That's the Carly Griggs. Yes, we were discussing Maddie. I saw they found Carly guilty, didn't hear sentencing. What mom would send their 12-year-old daughter to bed with their own boyfriend. Okay, so um, the sentencing on both counts was life. The judge did not say without parole. Um, though, you know, people don't think the odds are great. Um, 10 years. I missed about the 10 years. I think I heard the 2 life sentences and they're to be run um not consecutively. What's my brain the other one. I don't think it was I don't think they were one after the other. I think they were simultaneously, concurrently. Thank you. Um so because she is 14 now 15, technically she does have a chance at parole at some point. The experts I think were saying like um probably a minimum of 40 years was the like what the experts were saying at this time. But yeah, I'm interested in the cases that you guys have been observing. We might casually read on that, some of that still, because there's, like, in my opinion, on the Carly Griggs, there's still some mystery. Now, I did not, like, I sort of missed some parts of the trial, not even intentionally, but I still don't feel like there's a full explanation of any kind about what exactly happened. So I would really like to look into that and just see if we could see something. Um, but before that, this is the Folk Magic Tarot. ibizatarot.com. Ibiza. This is the little book. It's probably too bright. Yeah, it was too bright. I can sort of see the book. This is their first printing, so they don't like have the. I don't know if they have their boxes perfected, etc. And it says, may this tarot deck be a guide and guardian on your journey. With each card you draw, may you receive insight, wisdom, and clarity. May it reveal the hidden truths of the cosmos and the innermost secrets of your soul. May this deck be a source of light in darkness, offering some comfort, inspiration, and perspective. Blessed be your path, enriched by the ancient wisdom of the tarot. Ibiza Tarot. If I recall, I think it's one woman that did both, but I would like to confirm that. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because I do not. I do think it's interesting. Their instructions are sort of interesting. How to use tarot, it says. With a blank mind, pick a card with each hand and let yourself be surprised. The left card is your emotional message. The right card is your action message. Number 2, focusing on a specific issue, ache or pain, pick a card with each hand. The left card is the cause. The right card is the solution, which is, I mean, this is interesting just because even when people get simplistic, I've not really heard these. For decisions, pick 3 cards and place them down. And then this, of course, is left card is past, middle is present, right is the future. I am not mocking them. I know I laughed. That last one is just sort of well known by a lot of us. So yeah, so they're folk magic tarot. I think I kept them in some sort of successful order, but I want to start. Yeah, I want to start with the major arcana, because rather than like make everybody look at 78 cards. So these are the backs. These are the fronts. The Fool. The Magician. The High Priestess, who I like. She's one of my favorites in the deck. The Empress. I think it's interesting they employ sparrow, because that is definitely folk symbolism. The Emperor, who I think has 3. Does he have 3 hands? That's interesting. I don't quite understand that. The Hierophant, he has different colored eyes. I think he's meant to sort of represent Nostradamus. I'm pretty sure they said he had different color eyes, and if you look at sort of the heritage on this guy. The Lovers. The Chariot, which I think is interesting, because he actually looks very much like a Hindu god in this case on this chariot. Strength. This is a pretty strength card. The Hermit. Might need some eyeglasses. The Wheel of Fortune. Justice. The Hanged Man. Death. Temperance. I liked Temperance quite a bit in this deck as well. The Devil. The Tower. What I liked about the Tower that they were all flying out rather than falling. That might give interesting reads. The Star. The Moon. The Sun, which I think is cute. I think it's interesting they chose to make them sunburned too. Again, an interesting read, like a different choice. Judgment. And the World. Which I think this is supposed to be sort of like a folk version of like the Holy Trinity. Um, Otherwise, it's interesting that it's three males, but they do all have halos. So, okie dokie. And then I don't know, like I mean, the um, they're all pretty. Like I'm not going to go through all of them, but like I love this Two of Cups, right? Because the Two of Cups is more of a love relationship than the Lovers, and they did this one pretty beautifully and not very close-mindedly, also, which I liked. I think they did a good job on all of the expressions too, of what at least the cards very, very traditionally mean. So if they didn't leave much space um, for questions about like the mood or emotions of the parties involved. Let's skip. There's the King of Wands. There's the Page of Swords. Five of Pentacles. I'd like to see the 10 of Pentacles. Pretty. It's one of my favorites in any deck is the 10 of Pentacles. Page, Knight, Queen, King. But yeah, they're pretty. I've been trying to decide, because my decks have started to be very specific. Some of them are just like things I use over and over, but some are things it's like, okay, if this is a money issue, I'm definitely using XYZ, or a job issue or whatever. So I'm curious, like, what they'll be for. I don't really know. And I haven't, like, while I have a lot of decks, I haven't been that impulsive in a really long time. I saw them on Etsy and just like didn't even think about it. And so there must be some reason for that other than, I don't know, maybe like I took too much David M. Golly, I've already forgotten his name. Boggins? David M. Butcher. I might have taken too much David M. Butcher and gotten a gambling addiction. uh, or have impulse control issues or whatever they say. So, Kat, you said you were watching Mari Soto, and I think you said Carly too. Is there anyone else? Okay, we're going to take a medicine. Actually, I have 10 more minutes before I can. Okay, hold on. Okay, well, good, Sebastian. So, that's interesting to me because those were the three I talked about, like just sort of um, practicing on. Actually, was Carly, Matty Soto, and Sebastian. Actually, um, it's interesting. Um, the cases that I worked, which haven't been many because it's not been my brand, but golly, there was a lot right about Rachel Morin. Like I knew about the DC connection. I thought it was going to be a politician. It turned out to be a cartel gang, but it was a DC power position. I also think that they are very much missing, unfortunately, a victim between Rachel and his arrest that they haven't figured out yet. I very much can't put that idea down, and that makes me sad and nervous. And then um, Pixie and I worked a lot in the middle of the night one night on the ladies, the Oklahoma, Kansas ladies, and um, that reading was the guides were crazy accurately good um, on that. I still have it privatized. I might at some point be allowed to release it, and then um, I'm trying to remember. We read a couple and others. It was the of course my brain is like names. Um, it was the God's Misfits, right? Where the mother-in-law um, was more in a custody battle with the mother of her grandchildren than the father actually was. Um, and the two women went down because the mother had to be assisted by um, a ward of the court. Hold on, let me come on. My phone has been so weird. Um, I should know this one. Like I had a direct connection to this particular case behind the scenes. Like, why is my brain? Come on, phone. Come on, phone. What's going on, phone? Okay, it's moving now. I don't understand what it's been doing. Okay, my brain got one of the. It was Jillian, and I'm pretty sure Jillian was the mother. Come on, phone. Like I don't understand what your problem is. Other than I'm going to have to be buying a new phone soon. I think. Do 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 do. Come on, please. Mm. Okay, so Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly were the two women that were unalived by this group of people. Um, God's misfits is what they called themselves. It's a cult. And the grandmother was of these children was basically in charge of that cult and had been her son, she said her son had been in a long custody battle with the mother of his children. His son didn't care much at all, um, but she did. And so at first, she and three others were arrested, and then a fifth was arrested as well. They were, quote, kidnapping and unaliving Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly. They vanished from Texas County, Oklahoma, after they had just crossed um, from the Kansas state line. They had been lured into an intersection 10 miles from the nearest town because they were supposed to meet to pick up the kiddos. And they ambushed them at the car. And so I couldn't put that one down in my head. So that was one that um, Pixie and I worked on like in the middle of the night um, for quite a while. And I hope I'm able to post it at some point. But um, because I'm in the Midwest and have proximity, and because of some of the things I said, I was contacted by people. And so I privatized the video immediately and then spoke to the people. But yes, and I was initially contacted because they wondered if I knew those things because I was close and had real information, or if it was a reading, um, which was very nerve wracking because I'm not um, because this has not been my particular forte, and it's something like I'm stepping in. Like in my 20s, I did two cases, right? One about a deceased person, one about finding a live person, and then up until like we read Lana and Rachel, I had not done anything, at least publicly, um, about cases. And, you know, Lana was first, and like in a day, her mother was in our chat and lovely, lovely, and her cousin was in our chat. And I'm sad that I can't publish that one, but it's not safe to do so right now. But and that's been confirmed. Like it's not a wise decision. That's why when somebody put it in the group chat the other day, I was like, don't talk about that. Um, I was telling her about um, the case in Texas County, Oklahoma, Pixie, that um, we read. But so yeah, so I read Lana, and immediately then her mom was there, which felt overwhelming to me, even though like I didn't have a lot of people bothering me, but like I felt she was a very important person. Then it was interesting to me that like she was there so quickly, right? And then you know we read Rachel, and there were a few others I did, and then immediately privated, and um, and then the one that I left up for a few hours, like almost got like it felt like initially like it was getting me in trouble. So it's sort of I feel intense when I read cases. Um, I think that it probably means like practice more because um, a lot of energy comes with it, and people that are not not people all over the internet, but people that are directly connected somehow notice right away. So there's probably something to that, but it's really intimidating to me. you need food. Did you get food when you Yeah, mother-in-law was Tiffany. Um, but yeah, that felt intense. It wasn't and, Pixie was present, so there were some things, she was doing a great job, she was sitting for me and, was doing research as I read, and there were several times I was saying, like, things like, "There's cows walking over them, there's cows walking over them, and they're in a cave under the earth," and all this weird stuff, and she was like, "There can't be cows, it's a pig farming town," like, and, and then it was crazy, like, they were at the only place in, like, 2 counties that had cows. The cave that I kept seeing was they were buried in a hole, but it was up against an old stone dam. So it was half earth and then half like rock, and it was a cave. And it did echo and things like, which was, it just was weird. I didn't tell you which thing. I don't know how long my delay is, so I don't know where you are. Yeah, I also learned from that case to ask. I mean, I know people get annoyed when I ask detailed questions over and over and over and over again, but like the cave, I might have actually gotten it on the nose if I had been patient enough to ask more questions, right? So like I learned a lot about being more meticulous. I'm not sure what I didn't tell you. Are you talking about me being contacted? If that's it, I started to tell you and then we got on the topic of and this was a while back now, right? Several months ago, but we got on the topic of um spirits in your house. I was. That's why like I was like when you went to bed that night or that morning, right, at like 9 a.m. or whatever, I was editing it, right, to try and get some snippets and like our dead time um down, and I got a phone call and like I can't I'm still I think uh, everything I've said so far I am allowed to say, but like I can't go much further without getting in trouble. Oh yes, yeah, the Riley case. I couldn't put the Riley case down. And I couldn't also that lovely lady who has her own YouTube channel, there was a case where her cousin went missing, and I couldn't put that one down either. I still don't know the outcome of that one though. Riley, um, we did pretty well. We did pretty well in terms of like locations and things. I still I don't think they should be done investigating it. I'm not even sure. I haven't followed it up. Like I haven't followed it up. No, I think the are you talking about? Okay, there was the guy in Shreveport that was the YouTuber's cousin, and then you're talking the kid in Houston, the one that disappeared walking his dog. You mean, or walked his dog and then disappeared? Are you talking about that gentleman? Why, yeah, I should know his name. That's awful of me. I wish I could. I should remember his name. Oh, Um, damn it. My phone is so busted, or I would use it to research right now, but um, it's being so strange. But yeah, reading cases felt. Oh, Matthew Perry. Uh, but those were mostly dreams and me just ranting to Pixie about things. That wasn't a reading. That was dreams and me saying, no, no, no. I didn't get ketamine queen right. I kept saying the queen of LA, the queen of the duchess of drugs. Like I couldn't I couldn't get it, but like we got pretty close on that. So I think that there is value in reading cases, even though there's so many people that are really wonderful at it, like Psychic Sleuth, pretty freaking solid, right? Donna Serafina, amazing. Like, um, I think there is purpose here for reading some cases just because so much energy gets generated every time it happens, but it's really intimidating. Thank you, Caleb Harris. Thank you. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure I started to tell you. I know Nook knows that I was contacted because um she just happened to call, or maybe that was the day we did the like, or right around the time we did the short live stream for her dog. I'm not sure, but at some point in some window I was like, you're not going to believe what just happened. Like um like she actually lectured me today about, like, I don't understand why you're not doing more, like, yes, there were some, but I also think there just were, just like how it seems to be in seasons. I hate to like sort of phrase it that way, but it does seem to be like there are patterns, right? Where there'll be like two kiddos that have really similar circumstances in a really similar window of time, right? Um, and so like I do think there has to be some energetic linking, like cosmically. I'm not like really implying that like Riley and Caleb were injured by the same situation, but like um but energetically there does seem to be something going on because there's been like a lot of young men in the last like 2 years in that age range, which I almost said it, which is great, and I don't mean like it's great that they've been hurt or traumatized, etc. But um, it is like great that they're paying attention to the young men because I think sometimes um, young women they felt were more helpless or more sensational, and sometimes they haven't paid as much attention, and at least it feels like that to me, to like young men. And so while I wish like none of it ever happened, um I like that they're paying, at least in a young age group, they seem to be paying equal attention to men and women. No, I know, I remember Riley in the Shreveport case. Like they're, because they both were by bodies, like the places where they disappeared, right? They were both downtowns. They were both sort of hinky areas. They were both along rivers, and like the Shreveport case has that cabin that I cannot stop seeing, and I don't know how that case ended or if it has been resolved. I don't know, but like I need to look at that, right? Um, and so there was so much, like just like in the basic facts about those two that were so linked, right? Just like that kid, in my opinion, And again, I should know names. I need to just I take notes and then I leave them in my room. But the kid that disappeared like in the desert, he'd been to a party and then they found him. Like I think energetically that energy was linked to Caleb Harris. Like if we're talking about universal ties and patterns, exactly. Kat said patterns. Um, yes, major rivers. Like I need to pause and take my medication so I don't, because I keep putting it off. But like major rivers and um yeah, I need to follow up and see if I can figure out how Shreveport ended. It didn't get like it got coverage because that YouTuber was covering it for her cousin. I don't know if I ever saw any other coverage. So if it's unresolved, maybe we should actually on a different night like do that separately and see what could happen. Because like I don't know if you remember, but like not only did I like keep seeing the cabin and dreaming of that weird cabin, it came through on the ghost tube seer. That cabin came through, which was interesting. Okay, hold on a second. It's kind of funny. I keep messing with the air conditioning because when I start to actually like read or channel, even just a little bit, like sitting here, I get warm. And then when I stop, I cool back down. And so it's like, ah, yeah, it was. And that's why I think I was contacted because it was it was crazy. And hopefully someday, well, first of all, I have to edit it because like it was Pixie and I mean, we weren't like literally like stone, but we were moving like sloths and just sat here for many hours. Now we worked on multiple cases, but like it really would need to be edited to even be remotely tolerable. Because Jeebus. Hey Kat, have you sat for, I know you're over Psychic Sleuth, Miss Rochelle. Um, do you sit for her ever? I know that she sometimes has sitters and I'm sort of in and out of there. Um, I think she's extraordinarily talented, though. No, I'm surprised by that a little bit. I thought Pixie was going to say I was stoned, but like I wasn't completely sure. Like that's been a while ago. That was right after we read all of the kids, the youngins in your life, all the teens and 20 somethings. We had like a teenager round table, which was crazy. Um, why, Kat, have you not offered? I know you're modded, and she acknowledges you, so I'm pretty sure she knows it. That's why I thought maybe at this point there might have been collaboration. I bet you she would accept it. Actually, I'm curious. Do you mind if I throw a few cards to see if she would be like excited about it? Or do you not care? Because I'm curious. It feels like she would be. I'm lagging, like by how much? No, I know you were. I was responding to your comments saying "ha ha ha" or "lmao." I was stoned. I don't know. I don't know what our where our lag is fallen. Our lag has fallen and it can't get up. Archangels, angels, guides, and ascended masters, those that are of the light and from the light, please be with us. We just want to ask a silly question. Do I have permission to ask a question about if Kat would be happy and a good fit as a sitter on that channel? Great. Let's see. Is there a second channel you hang out at a lot, Kat? This is the first one that went down, so. Because if it's not her, it's another one. Is there like a not quite as big channel, but close where you hang? Meow. Okay, well, I might as well turn this over. Interesting. So she trusts you, which is great. There would be a delay. You're the one on your head. So can somebody clarify this one? Like, why would Kat be on her head about it? Did you go to the docket? I think I saw you on the docket too. I mean, I know that's not like readings, but I felt like I saw you over there. Can we please get a clarifier on Kat's upside downedness? Ah, okay. So it says like perfect, like she finds you trustworthy and likes your energy, right? There would be a delay, but it's on your part. And basically the answer is you'd be frustrated because whilst um, you'd be there, you wouldn't really be allowed to help. And that would, it seems like that would frustrate you. Hold on one second. Sorry. Um, why wouldn't she be allowed to help? Hmm, okay. I'm hesitant to say this just because it's about a public person, but actually it's not a bad thing. It just says that person has a really strong independent streak, and so not doesn't always prefer to have help, and wants to be lead on that, which there's nothing wrong with that, like on your own channel. So like I want to make that clear just in case more than the three of us see this, because it's not, I don't think it's negative. Yeah, I think the cards fell correctly just from observation, and there's nothing. Um, yeah, what did you disconnect from? Because Kat said, I feel the bit of edge I had a year ago is gone from lack of connection. Like, did you lose connection to the work or to spirit? I already know what it is. It's to yourself. But you are like minds. See, that's the thing. Like I think you know that, but I don't. I know it's scary. Trust me, it's scary. But like when you're alone, you're hanging with like minds. No, I mean, I'm not saying like I know exactly what work you should be doing in that area, but like absolutely, like I think it's probably something a little bit different, right? I don't know what it is, but it's like how my friend Mary, um, these days everything is channeled through like her art, right? But her art like winds up being a reading for people, right? Like um, telling a story they never told her, but it winds up on the canvas, right? Um, energetically, maybe for you, like it's always been the glass work, right? Where you combine everything, and you've made them like a healing, something that will vibrate, you know, in their space and heal, right? Like, but I know that you're connected, but it is scary to dive in because it even if you've been doing it forever, like some of us, every time some new skill comes in or some new, like if they challenge you with a new thing to try or whatever, it's like jumping into like piranha infested waters without a life jacket as well. Like it feels like um for so many reasons, right? Because there are so many just other humans that doubt and mock and troll. But they do that to everybody, right? Like it's just it feels but they, like because this stuff scares people more, like they want to argue, right? There's people that I read all the time that still, even if like they know like there's been consistency, they still in the moment a lot of times their inclination is to argue because it's scary a little bit, understanding how clearly the universe sees you. That's intimidating whether you fully contemplate it or not. It's really intimidating. Yeah. I understand that. I just was I I sort of thought that that was a me problem. Does that make sense? I thought that like cuz I thought, "Oh my gosh, I was so excited cuz so tremendously talented. So tremendously talented." Yeah, um, but instinctually, anytime I've been there and said anything, she does not like me. Like it, and it's not when it's not like I'm advertising in her thing. Like no matter what I say, she intuitively does not like me. And that's fine. Like she's fully entitled to feel something about my energy, right? Like I'm sure I'm annoying as all get out, but like um I sort of thought it was just maybe like our energies, right? Well, yeah, I mean she's enormously talented. She's extraordinarily blunt, which is great because her honesty is tantamount. Um, but yeah, like you know when you make someone else either upset or nervous and you can feel it, and it's like, well, golly, like I admire you, and I'm not ever wanting to make you feel upset or nervous, so I'm just gonna go away because like I like you, but I make you ill at ease for whatever reason. So I would love to hang out there more, but it's not. I'm not a fan of being an intentional irritant to someone that's doing good work. They don't need that kind of distraction or trouble or whatever. Pixie, F them and feed them fish heads. Lovely fish heads. Squishy, squishy fish heads. I can't remember what that's from. Okay, so I think I want to flip on Carly Gregg. Just see. The only thing I really want to see is if we can get motive. That's the thing that I want to know the most because I don't. At least unless you guys saw something like um in the last like 24 hours that I missed, I still don't feel like I have a finger on the pulse of any kind of genuine motive. You know who she reminds me of, too? Do you remember the girl in the 70s? She's been one of like very few female school shooters, but it was either 70s or very early 80s where she lived across the street from the grade school and she's the one that said, I don't like Mondays. And she did a shooting. Carly reminds me so much of that girl. Okay, so um, she was she was a grade ahead in school always. So she was young, very young in her class. She got a 30 on the ACT at 13. She was the student of the year at her high school at least once, maybe more than once. So her IQ was exceptional and her school successes were exceptional. And her mom was a math teacher at the high school she attended. I don't know what her stepdad did. Um, her bio dad had a history of um, they never really confirmed if it was mental illness, but definitely like addiction and um, crime. Let's get me a screenshot. can you tell me where you sent it? Because I don't have it. Um, and so what happened was, first of all, they had cameras in the house, so you can go back, cat, and like see a lot of it. And it's interesting. So, um, they did have guns in their house, right? Like, and so she and her mom, you see all of it. Like, she and her mom come home from school that day. There had been an incident either the day before or earlier in the day at school where a friend of hers had said, "Hey, I've got to tell you something." Um, so she went. This friend went to her mother because they were worried because they felt like Carly was acting not like herself at all. And because she had like knives or something and also like marijuana vapes, and they were like, this is not like her at all and she's acting weird. So they told her mother. It was either the day before or that day. So there had been a tense discussion about that. There was a discussion about taking the phone away, right? Which seems to make a lot of people seemingly snap, young people and probably old people. um, and so anyway, but you see it all. They come home, you see them pull into the garage. Mom goes in the house, you see them both in the kitchen for a second. Girl lets their doggos out in the backyard, goes back to the car, gets something that you can't see at first, goes and finds her mother in her bedroom, and then you hear one shot, a scream, and two more shots. Um, then she picks up mom's phone, texts stepdad, "When will you be home, honey? Hurry home," or something to that effect. He answers. In the meantime, she calls her friend from school over and tells her, I think it was a him. "I need help. I need help. Um, can you come over? Or I have something to show you," or whatever it was. It was like, you have to hurry. So this kid's dad, because none of them could drive, they weren't the age to drive. This kid's dad brought them over, and the dad was like waiting outside, and the kid came in, and she asked, "Do dead bodies make you nervous?" And took the kid and showed them her mother, then told the kid, "Wait in the backyard, I have to do something." Stepdad comes in, she begins to shoot at him. She gets him in the shoulder, but not terribly so. Um, runs out the back door, and friend runs too out the back door. Then they both hop the fence. Friend runs to dad's car, and Carly runs away. And so then you can see the footage of the stepdad because he was fully cognizant the whole time. And the 911 call is heartbreaking because he thought in the moment that she thought he was a burglar or something. And because he said she just looked like terrified, like her eyes were wild and crazy. And um, she just looked terrified, and it just seemed so inordinate for her. And so on the 911 call, like, he's like, "She ran out. I think she was scared." So he was like sort of limping through the house to see if someone was there. And that's when he found his wife, which was, oh, Lord, help us all. Um, and so, but then what was crazy about all of it is then when there's footage of like her being found by the police, she's extraordinarily calm and doesn't look in any way panicked to me. But then there was all this talk about she had been on some medication, which I don't think they ever officially revealed. But a week before that, they'd taken her off of that and put her on, I think, Lexapro. I'm pretty sure. And there was inferring, like they kept inferring that the drug she'd been on previously was an antipsychotic, and then they'd taken her off of it really suddenly and put her on just a depression medication. So there was a lot of implication that it was psychosis that was unmedicated, but there was never, based on what I could see, like any confirmation of that from past doctors or doctors that analyzed her now. Oh, okay. That's why I was like, I can't remember if the friend was a girl or a boy. Maybe it's because she contacted both. I know that the first one, the one that actually saw some things, when they went in the car with their dad, they said something and they went to the police station. But um yeah, I think I would love to know your perspective, Kat, because as a medical health professional, there might be some things that you can see that like is aren't as evident to us in either the way they like handled exposition or witness questioning or professional questioning. Yeah. um mom had 3 shots and they were all up high. Mom was also tiny. Like, I don't know if you've seen. Yeah, they had switched her to, I know they'd switched her to Lexapro, but like I don't they never they kept saying over and over, like, um she took her off the medication she needed. Right? Okay, yes. And then what was also interesting, I did see like the counselor that she'd been having consistent appointments with. And whilst she had been having struggles, there was never any reports of hearing voices or having hallucinations. And, while people are giving some room for that to be like that she didn't mention it because she was embarrassed, um, the person that testified sort of said she felt pretty open with me and I felt, and there was never any mention of that, right? There was only mention of these voices and hallucinations at this point. So then the question is, right, was it really because meds and then like maybe trying marijuana and like, being young and under enormous pressure? Because like we can all tell from her academic record that even if they thought she was okay, like I know personally that she probably wasn't. And with that kind of pressure. But um, but they don't know if it's, and that's the one thing I really want to know. Like I want to read on is is because she's so smart, is this whole I hear voices a scam? And if so, then what was her reason? And then um or was it the meds messed her up? Like that's what I want to know the most. But yeah, from a nurse's perspective, I would really like to know your opinion, Kat, because there was a pediatric nurse practitioner, um, and then I know, like, I think Pixie, you said, like, they said whoever reviewed her wasn't pediatric. I think that was the guy for the state, but like, the person she'd been seeing was a psychiatric pediatric nurse practitioner. And then there were some other nurses that had seen her. Like, she did have an inpatient stay. I can't remember for how long they said. At a certain point, it wasn't terribly long, and so there were some nurses from that. Like, yeah, I'd kept wondering about your perspective on it, Kat, just because of your knowledge in that field. But I'm sort of curious. Archangels, angels, guides, and ascended masters, those that are of the light and from the light, please help us and protect us. Guard all of the gateways. Help everything be for the higher and greater good of everyone's learning and growth. Can I ask questions? Am I allowed to ask questions about the motives and potential mental state of Carly It's Griggs, right? Or is it Greg's? I want to make sure I have the name right. Yes. So Pixie said this. She said, this. Carly had confided in a friend that she was worried she had what her dad had. And yes, I heard that too. And it was after the vape thing, right? Because it was really recent. Because what happened is because it was marijuana, apparently mom had said something to the effect of, you don't want to turn out like your father. She was talking strictly about don't mess with drugs. But kiddo, when she talked to a friend, thought there was a psychological comparison being made. Greg, thank you. Thank you, Kat. So, okay. Do I have permission to ask some questions about the Carly Gregg case? Okay. Can I ask questions about her motives? That wasn't a clear answer. Can I ask questions about her motives? Thank you. Can I ask questions about the realities of her mental state? Okay, thank you. Which do you think should be first? Okay, thank you. All right. So the question we're going to ask first is, what clear motive, if there was one, or what reason, or what series of events led to Carly Gregg making the choice she did? And of course, in this particular case, so much information is already out there. This is all speculative because it goes to the inner thinkings of people, but I'm just curious if we could get information because I really like to know. No. When we have a tremor, everything gets messed up. That was just to recenter. If we can. I just I just ended my night night it's not really nightmare fuel, but my treatment week like at 9 tonight. So good night, Nancy. Bottom one? Top one? Okay. Okay. Can I get a clarifier for this one, please? There it is again. So, okay. Can I get a clarifier for this one, please? Ooh, flip that baby out. Okay, so this is pretty direct already, but
we'll add more. Let's see what you guys have said, Sue. Gregg. Okay. Also, dad was making her do drugs. I heard something to that effect, but I wasn't sure if that was said in court or if that was whatever. If she's faking, she's good because I'm indecisive. In the home cameras, when she got her bag out of the car, she looked depressed or like out of it to me. She didn't look like a kid that was angry. I did think it was strange that she sang to her dogs, trying to soothe them, but then she also yelled at them, so it's confusing. So, okay, anyway, we're going to want more clarifiers, but this was really clear really quickly. So we've got the 501s up, right? A fight, right?
The chariot, a fight in the car, right? I'm an intuitive reader, but whether you read them intuitively or actually by the card, so far, fight in the car. Dad is brought up because it's the emperor. Then we have the 9 of Pentacles, okay? And so when I asked the clarifier for the fight, right? A clarifier for the fight um, was about there are going to be some new rules and regulations because of some of your behaviors. And then I asked for clarifier for the 9 of Pentacles because it was basically this means um, you have everything going for you, kid. Like you're like you have almost all the pieces you need to not just be successful but be absolutely brilliant. And you're letting temptation, because this is the devil card, which is often like drugs, alcohol, some form of temptation, um, mess up all of that. So this really was in the car on the way home. They were saying, "Nope, we need to add some new rules here. Um, we don't want to be like dad, or you have everything going for you. Why give in to this?" Um, can I ask guides? Um, can we hear? Well, let's start here. Can we maybe hear or see um, what kind of regulations are already? Hmm. 3 of Swords. Interesting. Okay. And can we clarify what exactly was said about dad? Gabriel, can you hear the question in my head? So my question is, did dad really make her engage in some sort of substance use? Did he make her? That's the first question. Was it, you know, FORCE? I actually think we can say force here. I go to another place where we can't. So, okay. Does that mean it was her
Was it her choice to cope with being near him? Oof. Yeah. Okay. And was there already some sort of physical bodily addiction? Is this the one you guys want? Because it flipped. Okay, so on the way home, they were talking about restrictions. She's going to be restricted from someone that, like a boy. Was there a mention? I've never saw it. Like, was there a boy or girl? Like, was there a, a cute um, love interest or a crush or a date that was ever mentioned? Because this was something like there were other restrictions, but the one that set her off was being kept away from someone. Um, was this because this person was a bad influence, guides, or is this because it was just like, well, you can't go on dates if um, you're going to have problems? Just cutting off socialization mostly, or was see because that could go both ways. One more. Okay. So this was about some I don't know if it was boy or girl, but love interest date. Um, and they were like that, and this person made her feel like, because I think it seems like she felt like she didn't have much of a social life, and probably if she was studying really hard. Like, I mean, I can see that, like, that feeling. And if everybody's older than you by a lot, etc. But like, um, she finally had somebody that she felt comfortable like being like social with, but they were not the bad influence. Actually, she sort of was. And she did the answer to the question about like, did she already have a substance thing, like sort of what felt like, or like early dependency, or at least like chemical imbalances. Yes, like she was having hangovers and a little bit of at least what was starting to feel like dependency. It doesn't look like he forced her, but it looked like the emotional state she was in when she had to be around him was so unpleasant, and he certainly didn't forbid her to consume things. So she did it when around him to cope. And then of course, because of like pressures, um you know that type of relaxation that she didn't usually feel also felt good in some form or other. I would like to know what you guys are saying first. Hold on here. Okay, okay, let's double back here. Okay, so in the home cameras, when she got her bag out of the car, she looked depressed. Like, out of it, to me, she didn't look like a kid that was angry. That was right before she unalived her, but then again, right after that, when she got the weapon, she for sure looked like she knew what she was doing. I don't know. They say what hung her was the fact that she removed the kitchen camera. It was said in court, Dad was blowing meth smoke in her face. Okay, I mean, I believe that. Cat says, nice guy, right? Forced her to drink. I could have sworn they said in court she was not on meds, that Mom didn't want her on meds, but Mom also was terrified for the longest time that Carly would have what her dad had. So Carly was always extra good as to not upset Mom in any way. So when she started feeling off, she didn't tell mom. But her friends knew something was up. She was going down a rabbit hole. I think there was like a crush, and I'm trying to remember. I'll have to go back and find it. Um, so because I don't know for sure, right? Like this is what it's saying is that there was like someone to date. Now I don't know if that was just like going to homecoming or you know what I mean, like, but it was exciting for her. I think there was a person, but like she had friends that said they never really hung out other than in school. So the medicine is where like uh we disagree because I'll have to find it, right? Um but there there were medications prescribed. Now, I don't know, maybe you heard something about mom disagreeing and not giving it to her or something, but like um they were prescribed. And yeah, like I can totally see dad blowing meth smoke and stuff, but this was something like and who knows, maybe he was like take a sip or something, but then she like, like she was doing it at his house to cope. I'm trying to remember what else was said. I mean, the reason okay, when you say she started feeling off, she didn't tell mom, the reason I do you just mean more off than normal? Because, like, she was under regular psychiatric care both at school and outside of school, and she had done some inpatient stuff. So, um, are you talking about extreme, like behavior becoming more extreme? Oh golly, what was my other question? Oh, okay. Um, that was the other thing I was gonna say, like, that has nothing to do with reading it, but, like, the thing when I watched her get out of the car a few times, and what I thought was interesting is to me I mean, you're right, she didn't look, like, enraged, but she was getting into a lot of different doors. She took her bag and, like, pre-placed something outside, like a backpack or something, and then moved something from the car to the kitchen, if you recall, like, that she had behind her back. I don't know if the weapon was actually in the vehicle or something, but she opened 3 of those doors and was moving stuff around after mom went in, and it was so that means, like, it wasn't like the weapon was on a countertop and they were yelling at each other and she just grabbed it, like, she positioned it and repositioned it. Then she also when she texted from mom's phone to stepdad to say, "Come home, Sonny," or whatever, or "Come home, Sonny, come home, honey." That's like even if like it was planned up to that point, a lot of kids would have like freaked out from the first situation, but she stayed eerie, calm, showed a friend, and then sort of like that text is sort of like entrapment, I think. So that's what was happening before. Um, is there any way you guys can sort of indicate to us like how long um, had she been thinking of this exact course of action? It had been burdening her for a long time. Can you indicate how long? Just using a numbered card in like, let's do months. 5. 5 months back. 5 months back would be would 5 months Christmas break? Would 5 months back have been Christmas break? Just by choosing a gender, who was she more angry with, mom or stepdad? Too many. Let's see, okay. We'll see what happens. Stepdad, okay. We just got, that was the second male. Why? Interesting. So these are supposed to be sequential? Okay. Interesting. Okay. Um, the answer is he's acting like he's so smart and like he's in charge of the house. Just because he married my mom, he doesn't have any right to that because they were very newly married. That's the other thing. But here's that 8 of Swords, which means this was all in her head in terms of like stepdad. Can you guys clarify? Are you saying, is this about him? She felt like, even it's mostly because she felt like he was sort of on to some of her schemes. I mean, I know it was in her head, but is that what that means? He moved into her life too quickly. She felt like he moved in too quickly and she already had big problems with men because of bio. Okay, so Pixie said, yes, she was on meds at one time, but not recently. Yes, more off than normal. They said weapon was in mom's nightstand. Person who showed up testified. But they
turned audio and cameras off, it was typed out. Oh, are you talking about the kiddo? You're talking about the kiddo she invited over? Because they were talking about a lot of, just like in like court TV, right? About how, because they were all minors, they, had to protect them. And then there was an issue where their names were released on social media, and the defense was sort of even commenting on that, like at sentencing. Okay, so that's what happened. Like that's the temperature like in the house. Let's see if we can do like really quickly, like one for mom, one for in the energetic situations, like very close to this occurrence. Can we get one card for mom, one card for Carly, one card for stepdad, just to see like what their positions were in that sense of like leading up to it? Can we do mom? What was mom's stance? We got slippery fingers tonight. Whoa, okay. What was Carly's stance? Hmm. And what was mom's stance? It's the tower, right? So mom's stance was everything has to change now. Like stuff's getting too messy. We really have to crack down and do some stuff. Um, Carly is the high priestess. Um, I would like to ask for a clarifier, but like what I'm hearing is, and this may go to some sort of like delusional thinking, or maybe literal, like maybe actually tripping out a little bit, because she believes that it's the high priestess. She believes she knows better. Like she knows things that they don't. Um, and he was sort of just trying to stay fair and out of it, like just like they're saying, like, I'm new here, I'm trying not to make commentary, except for the fact, like, if it gets in, if like the trouble in my home is too much, I have the right to say that, but like I'm not trying to parent her. Can we clarify, this high priestess, like, was that a hallucination, or was it just like a feeling superior? So on the bottom. Okay. It was like we have I should probably be saying what they are. It was the Page of Wands reversed, the Six of Pentacles reversed, and Judgment reversed. So it's like it was a young person, an immature perspective, thinking things were not fair and that she never gets any leeway, and that she shouldn't be punished at all. Yes. Okay. Yes, it was the boy that showed up. Okay. So still no hallucinations. I'm just gonna. Were there at any time, guides, any type of hallucinations, directions from hallucinated, or um, Was there some sort of delusional psychosis? Too many. Why does that keep happening? Okay, it's King of Swords on his head, so that would be like because that's air, so that's like um, backwards thinking to the extreme. Okay, was the backwards thinking influenced by something imagined? Here's the card. Oh, I heard it. Okay. Ruining my whole world. Can we verify? Yeah. Didn't want to walk away. Didn't want to walk away from some of those things. Yeah. You're saying she was, did I hear you right? Did you say she was mad as in like angry, angry, angry? Happy home. Oh, interesting. There was something going on too, um, where her mom was a really I did hear this, like her mom was a really popular math teacher at that school, but this here, like 10 of Cups, Hierophant reverse, 7 of Wands reverse, this is like, and based on what I heard too, right? This is like basically like popular teacher, I'm doing really well in school. Mom paints us as like this perfect situation, right? In her teaching, right? As like this teacher and this leader, but she didn't bother to teach me enough and she didn't protect me. So that this is some of it. So it's like, wait a second. You didn't she at least she felt this way. You didn't protect me from all this crap with bio, right? And you put this happy smile on everything in public and but now you're saying I can't do it. Like it was fine for him to do it and totally screw up our lives, but like I do this a little bit and you couldn't protect me from him, but like you're going to stop me from making myself happy and you're posturing at school like everything's a lie. I don't know if that's the reality, but it's something they're saying she felt. Stepdad came across totally different than that. Than what? Yeah, he was very passive and sweet. He did back her all the way. Yeah, he thought that's why. It's okay. Pixie said, just to clarify, he said she wasn't acting herself, didn't look like herself. He'd never seen that in all the years he's known her. Now, to be fair, he's known her since 2022. Um, and it's 2024. Um, but yeah, you're right. He said like even like on the tapes, right? He's saying things like, um, that she must have thought there was a burglar. Like she looked like she saw a demon. Like her eyes were enormous. Like, um, But right, no, I agree with you. He came across totally different than what this said, but this was her perspective, right? Like you can't roll up in here and have an opinion, right? So I'm not saying that like there was I mean, there's no way to really know anyway, right? This is not like about facts. This is about speculative, like emotional things. But like um so far, there's not been a lot that says she was unwell. It's been she was enraged by all of it, about what it felt like hypocrisy, what felt like we always have to pretend to be perfect at the school, and really, like, I've been in therapy and bio dad was terrible and I don't feel like mom protected me, and like all of that like stuff was coming to like a head, and she was using substances, which so that could totally like with if like even if you don't factor in like antidepressants and things like a kid's brain, especially a adolescent's brain, and like alcohol and drugs, like there could have been something, especially if there was already like a biological proclivity to being unwell. Um, was there ever a time, guides, where she didn't know who was around her and what she was doing? Was there ever a time where she was not rooted in reality? Let's see what's on the bottom here in case it comes back. Hold on here. Was there ever a time when she was not rooted in? Come on, why does that keep happening? That's unusual even for me. Do you guys want me to switch to decks? Okay. Was there ever a time when Carly wasn't rooted in reality, where she was not aware of what she was doing, who she was with? She knew she was with her mom. That's parts for sure. I don't have tremors, so I'm having a hard time figuring out. Okay. Okay, so a lot of this is feelings. Like she knew she was with mom. She'd been having ruminating thoughts, but so far, like, they don't seem to be like she felt neglected. And look at this Eight of Cups. Literally couldn't see everything she had. Like, she had all of this support and just didn't, like, couldn't see it. Now, the question still is that because she was just a teenager that had hard circumstances, or was she hallucinating? Is there any way you guys can? It doesn't look like hallucinating to me, which actually I was expecting. So there's the world again.
World, Six of Cups, Queen of Cups. All emotional. Oh, there is one more. I was like, I need one more. And there it is. It was already that. It was already fallen. Relationship and home had been primarily her world. She wanted to cut those ties and engage more with peers. She couldn't see what she had, and that her maternal influence wanted what was best. She couldn't see all of the goodness and all of the things that were positive in her life because angry thinking. I want, like, I keep doing it because I want to see psychosis. Like, I was hoping, like, not that she's ill. Okay. I may get out rods. Just, you want me to put one just across? Okay, what is it? Across the whole thing. Okay. Ten of coin or 10 of wands reverted, 10 of coins upright. So rather than from bad things, good things come, this is from good things, bad things come. And I'm hearing again, this is like to do with the pressure of being pushed ahead, student of the year, like near genius level IQ, the pressure, the pressure, the pressure. She just like felt like it's all a lie. Like, because I'm listening, like I'm seeing the cards, right? But of course I'm listening to guides. All that pressure, that was too much. And then like this happy home, because her mom and her stepfather were happy, but they were newly married, and they'd had so much trouble, and her mom had been duking it out like with their dad for so long. And so then to live in this, to have it suddenly like flipped, right, and have like this cheery happy home felt like sort of felt like they're saying, like, it felt like mom mom's just pretending none of the hard stuff ever happened. Like, that's not what was going on, because clearly she was taking her to counselors and things like that, but that's how she felt. She was like, "Oh, like, all of this trouble, and, like, as soon as you fall in love, like, we're supposed to pretend like everything's great." Um, so, like, there's a lot of anger and, like, what feels like betrayal, but I just like, I wanted to see I don't want children to be crazy, but I wanted to see that it wasn't, like, so calculated. Let's ask that last question. Alright, she'd been thinking about it for 5 months. How long had she actually been planning the literal steps she took? She'd been saving this plan for what? Interesting. So yeah, so there is, I mean, there is something, like, clearly off in the thinking. I mean, but that's true of anybody that does this stuff for the most part. But she'd been actually, like they said, like, thinking about it for, like, months, but she'd actually, like, the plan itself, like, she'd already thought it through because she's a smart kid, and um she felt like, again, she felt like everything was posturing, like, things aren't perfect. um, Stop pretending. And then she started to believe that if she could get rid of the liars, that she would be happy. Because here she is, literally, like, they're telling me this is her and her two dogs, which was her plan. Like, and again, that's not rational, right? So this is the first time we're seeing, like, psychosis, right? She was like, okay, they'll be gone, and it'll be me and my two dogs, right? Me and my two dogs. We'll be fine in this house, like, in this beautiful house, because the liars will be gone. Get rid of the liars. Okay. You're right. It is time for the rods, but it's just now because they're saying, like, what I really need to ask is, was the voice in her head, quote, this is what they just said, was the voice in her head a voice in her head, or was it repetitive things said by Biodad? So that last little bit was the first time it was like, I mean, it was all teenager stuff, right? But, like, it was the first time where it was like, no, I'll be fine here alone with my dogs. Archangels, angels, guides, and ascended masters, those that are of the light and from the light, could you please give us some answers about the questions we have? Please watch the gates and doorways, keep them secure, only allow those in that you, as protective, loving source assistants, want, and allow in. And thank you so much for all of your blessings and assistance. Is the computer bothering you a little? Just a little? Okay. Do I need to go this way? Will that help? Okay.
Um, see, I'll try and move forward a little so we can still see. Okay. But I still want to anchor them. So let's try and figure out how to sit. Okay, I'm going to breathe and wait for you to tap in. Can I have Angelic, please, on the rods? Thank you. Do you love and respect God? Is that answer sort of halfway because of the space here right now? Okay. Can you please show me what a no will look like? Can you please show me what a directional will look like? Can you please show me what a metric would look like? Can you please show me what a yes would look like? Thank you. Is the energy low because mine is? Okay, thanks. Is this someone? Is this someone from Metatron's crew again? Okay, hello. Thank you for your help. Can we ask questions about Carly Greggs? Thank you. The reading that we just did, was it 80% or more correct? Like, was it interpreted 80% or more correctly? Yes. Okay. Thank you. Um, was it accurate that this is something she thought about for a while? And then is it accurate that she actually, it was premeditated? Okay. Was this something akin to what we humans would refer to as like teenage attitude problems? Okay. Was there an element of hallucinations at the time um, that she committed the crime? Was she hallucinating about who she was hurting? No. So she knew that she was hurting her mother. Okay. She knew she was attempting to hurt her stepfather. Okay. Um, did she believe that she had made the decision to hurt them? Did she have any delusion or hallucination where someone told or instructed her that these were things she needed to do? No. Was her bio dad an influence in terms of being this weird voice in her head that I hear? Is that bio dad? Yes. Okay. So is it fair to say that her thinking was damaged by like enormous trauma situations? Yes. Okay. Did she in any way believe bio dad asked her to injure these people? No. At the time that she injured them, um, was it because she genuinely thought she was fixing a problem? No. Um, if going this direction means it was primarily because she was a pissed off teenager, or this direction because it was confusion. Okay. Was it okay? I'll wait for you to, I'll get reorganized here. Was it more, which one? Was she more a pissed off teenager or massively confused?
Pissed off teenager. Did the medications that she took or didn't take, or however that worked, did they accelerate or intensify her need to do to take these courses of action? No. Had the female that she injured ever intentionally abused or injured her? No. Had the male that she attempted to injure ever intentionally abuse or hurt her? No. Did she believe that her mother meant to harm her? No. Did she believe that her stepfather meant to harm her? No. Let me see what's all going on. Hold on. We justified he didn't give a year, he said years. Okay, so Pixie said, okay, I have a question. What's your opinion? And that is life without parole for a kid. I thought they said life, but not without parole. Try the rods. Yes, we're doing it. Hi, Claudia. But did she feel that way due to depression, bipolar? Yeah, okay, I'll ask that question. Hi, Claudia. How are you? Hi, Pixie. I have shingles. I thought I was over them, but I broke out again. Claudia, I have had them 3 times since May. I'm so sorry you've got that going on, but I have information about partially why it's happening from my infectious disease specialist. I'm sorry though, because I've been having them since May and they are so freaking. I mean, the rash for me goes away quickly, but the pain, the nerve pain, and um, like the nervous system damage, like they found damage in my nerve endings at this point. With the little shocky test. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Medication makes you sick. You can switch. Okay, we need to talk about that because I've been doing this for several months. Pixie, next time you go to Walmart, go to the stuffed animals section. They have weighed ones for anxiety. They're super soft. I've hugged mine for 24 hours. I highly recommend them. Yes. I don't know what the yes is about, but okay. Okay, hold on. Pixie's question was feel that way due to depression or bipolar. Okay. Was her skewed thinking about how to handle her anger a byproduct of bipolar disorder? No. Okay. Was it a byproduct of depression? Yes. Um, was it a byproduct of any kind of schizoaffective disorder? No. Was there anything going on that was like a dissociative issue? Okay, that's the thing I kept seeing in her face. Um, is there anything like DID for her? No, okay, it's the other one. It's the other dissociative condition. Okay. So, um, is that why she stayed so calm because she's able to so thoroughly dissociate when things go? Yes. Okay. Um, so all of these feelings and brain chemical imbalances contributed to the extreme anger she was feeling? Yes. And was it primarily, oh, let me finish the question. Was it primarily anger or was it also like, was there fear? Was there anxiety? Okay, so let's see. Um, if it was primarily anger, let's go left. If it was anxiety, let's go right. And then if it's any kind of delusion,
Can we just cross them? Okay, can we have an answer? Anger. Was there anything else? Anger. So these conditions made her have an anger management issue. Okay. And is that why they are saying like she was cutting and things like that? Okay. So normally she turned it inwardly. Yes. Okay. Um, and it was based on what you said, is this accurate? Her belief that if she got rid of them, she could finally feel better. Was that accurate? Yes. So that is definitely some form. Okay, I heard you guys. Dissociation. Disassociation. You're not messing up the reading? Oh, probably. I always have lollipops, girl. Always. I'm a former smoker. I have them nearby at all times. So you would say her anger was the primary factor, like just rage. Okay. And she turned it all sorts of directions. Okay. And then it wasn't that she hallucinating? No, but she could dissociate from her actions when she did extreme things. Yes. Okay. Did she believe, I'll ask one more time. Did she believe on any level that her mother meant to harm her? No. Did she believe on any level that her stepfather meant to harm her? No. Did she believe, when talking about like lying or something, did she believe that her mother was lying to the world about what had happened in their lives? Yes. And that made her primarily angry. Okay. And um, can you tell me in my head, like, what it was she wanted her mother to acknowledge? Did she feel like her mother pushed her too much at school? No. Oh. Did she feel like her mother could, like, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. She felt like, is this accurate? Yes or no? She felt like her mother could make friends extremely easily, and socializing was really easy for her. Um, and so it wasn't fair because she couldn't do the same. So she felt like her mother was blind to the fact that she didn't know how to properly emote or connect to people. Okay. But, okay, I keep hearing you say, but this is like teenage ridiculosity. So, like, but this was also because she believed her mother should be servicing and taking care of literally every aspect of her existence and making it perfect. Yes. Okay. She believed that she was owed that. Okay. Is that because of what she had endured? Sort of. Okay. Let me see. While we're on that, did Bio Dad force her at any point, whether it was brief or elongated or lengthy, did he force her to drink alcohol? No. It's a big no. Did he force her to use drugs? No. Did he constantly use drugs around her? Yes. Did he do rude things like blow meth smoke in her face? Yes. Was he aware that she was drinking and using substance? Well, we'll separate it. Was he aware that she was drinking in his home? Did he encourage it? Yes. This person that I keep hearing rant, is that bio dad? Yes. So he was constantly sort of giving her his weird manifesto about life. Yes. And she felt like her mother should have fixed it in the court. Even though her mother was still in court fighting for her, she felt like her mother failed her. Yeah. Did she have any plans to injure her bio dad at any point? Oh, I did not expect that answer. Did she have plans to go? I mean, did she have like immediate plans to go and try and harm him? Wait a second. I heard you guys say lure. Did she have plans to try and lure bio dad to come? So when it was just the girl and the two, it was like she just wanted to be her and her dogs forever. Okay. So this is still from Metatron's group. Thank you. So from your perspective, from your higher than us perspective, um, this was like extremely traumatized thinking. Yes. Um, and even delusional in its like the way she processed. Yes. Okay. But was she hallucinating or hearing anyone instruct her to do these things? Okay. Who had a temper? Stepdad didn't. Stepdad didn't. She was just mad because he was pretty new in her life and she thought her mom was putting a big old bow on all of the stuff and trying, and probably she was trying to move on from the trauma and give her a better life, but she felt like that was a lie. Well, bio dad, I think they said was pretty. Are we still tapped in? Yeah. Bio dad, okay, hold on now. What are we doing? Okay. Bio dad, did he have some sort of hallucinations of any kind? Yes. Um, did did she genetically inherit any of those conditions like directly from him? No. So all of her stuff was not biological, it was trauma induced. Yes. Okay. Did bio dad have a bad temper? Yes. Okay. Did bio dad ever place hands on, well, that sounds funny. Did he ever hit or hurt her physically? No. Oh, I just heard you guys though. But he destroyed things in her presence, threw things. Yeah. Okay. When they were alone as well? Yes. Okay. Did he ever, was there ever any sort of essay or anything of that nature? No. So primarily like lunatic type ranting and just like scary behavior all around. Yes. And I heard you say he felt like he owned her and her mother. That's why he kept going to court. Okay. Um,
Was she frightened of stepdad because of biodad's influence? No. So she knew stepdad was a mild-mannered, kind. Okay. Understanding that you guys don't agree with like the way we as humans handle things. Understanding that, but also you know what the rule, like the laws that are set based on the way the laws are written. In your opinion, was the outcome of the case fair? Yes. Um, does she have a chance at parole in her lifetime? Yes. Do you believe she will make it to a point where she can enjoy that parole at this time? Based on, I understand many things could change. Do you believe that she will reach a point where she might be able to access that parole? Yes. Is that going to be like really soon in the sense like, are they going to wind up when they contest everything? Like, are they going to wind up like, is she going to go free? No. Is it going to sort of be handled? I just heard this, so it's going to be sort of handled like Gypsy. Okay. So there will be in the future more leeway given than we think. Yes. Okay. But did you say they would transfer her first to like like an asylum type place? Okay. Now is that like, are you guys saying that's something that would happen really soon, or like is that going to be like something that happens soon, or is that going to be something like where between jail and the and freedom she would be there? So is that something that's going to happen soon where she gets moved from like a jail situation to an asylum type thing? Okay, so like on her appeal, they might somehow be able to prove that she was more unwell than they had verified. Okay. How many years from now might the change occur? And so, okay, will she be in jail that entire time? So, based on everything now, which things can change, you believe she'll serve 4-ish, 5-ish years, and then they will potentially turn her in over to like a hospital setting? Yes. Based on what you can see now, will she be able to leave the hospital setting? Yes. Any other questions? They so she's gonna, I mean, Metatron's group is saying 4 or 5 years before, like, you know, the appeal is fully happening, and then there might be a shift. Will she end up, guides with life with a chance of parole after 25 years? Sort of? Okay, so, like, is that something that will be offered? Sort of. Will that be the final outcome? No. She'd been thinking about it for a while, according to the reading. Yes, she had been thinking about it for a while. And just to confirm with the rods, had she premeditated everything, like down to like knowing where the gun was, making sure it was loaded, all of that stuff? Yeah. Did she know? Did she know it was going to be that day? Okay. Did she know it was going to be that day more than 24 hours before? No. Okay, so this is a plan she had very solidly in place, but she wasn't sure when it was going to happen. Okay. And did it happen because she was then in trouble for like the vapes and things? Yeah. Oh, to clarify, because that was sort of confusing in the reading, did she have like a crush or a love interest they were telling her she couldn't associate with? Yes. And was that because the crush or the influence was negative? No. It's just because she they were restricting what she perceived to be the little social life she had. Yeah, okay. And had she really wanted to have much of a social life before? No. So she suddenly wanted to was the crush partially responsible for yes, that's why it got mentioned. Okay. Okay, so Pixie just said they said they'd have the appeal filed in 2 weeks. Do you believe that might be the case? Yes. Are you saying it'll be 4 or 5 months instead of years? No. So when we counted off 4 to 5, that was years? Is that because there will be delays, reschedules, postponements because they're gonna be arguing back and forth? Yeah. Alright. Will her based on what you can see right now, will her legal team stick with her through the whole thing? Yeah. Is she going to get official diagnoses, um, sometime in the next, like, year? In the next 6 months? No? Okay. Well, I'd heard you say years, so I cheated. But, like, so sometime in the next year, will they, in your opinion, based on what you can see, be accurate diagnoses? Yes. Okay. So they're gonna be observing her in jail and note that there are some abnormalities. Okay. Okay. Any more questions about this one? Because, like, we know the outcome of the case and stuff, but I just really want to know, like, because I couldn't figure it out from looking at her. Oh, did she ever think she saw a demon? No. Were her eyes, you're showing me, were her eyes wide because that was like, even though it looked like fear, was that her rage face? Yeah, because her eyes often look really sort of closed. So, like, that was like anger. Interesting. Did it look differently to him because he was in pain and injured? Okay, so it was partially his perception. Was it also because she's so, like, dissociated? Okay. Pix, can you think of anything else on this one? Well, yeah, I agree, Claudia, but they do that for everybody, right? Like, if it's like a quote unquote stripper, right? They make her look like an attorney, right? If it's um, like a money hungry wife, they make her look dowdy. Like, they do that in every situation. So that's not, you know what I mean? Like, that's a game they play whenever they are allowed to play it. Oh, look, the browser, I wasn't even asking. They're just agreeing. So yeah, so she has, just to clarify, she has that dissociative one that's not DID, right? It's not the split, it's just like thorough dissociate. Okay, yeah, okay. That's what it's gonna be. Are they gonna keep, like, is some of that, okay, what my long question is some of that posturing, or is she a threat to herself at this time? Is she a threat to, like, injure herself at this time? No?
Has she I know that she was hurting herself, but had she ever thought about killing herself? No. Wow, interesting. Did you just say she's too arrogant? Okay, that's an interesting combination of things. No, she's 15. Okay. I don't see any other questions. Um, Metatron, did you come to Angel from Metatron's core? Did you come because you're really connected to her, all of the intellect and brilliance and okay. Thank you for coming. Like you guys always um, are really impressive and we don't work together that much, so it's really cool to can I give you a hug? Oh, all the way. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Is there any other question I should be asking at this time? No. All right. So since we were going to sort of round robin, um, this is left. This is right. Shall we read another one? Yep. Okay. And if it is Maddie Soto, please go left. If it is Sebastian, please go right. I thought it was going to be Sebastian. Okay. Thank you so much. Would be wise to take a little break just for a minute. Okay. Thank you so much. Can we close this out at this time? Thank you. Did the operator change? Oh, golly. Did you let human energy? Okay. Can um can I have an angel of the rods just for a moment, please? Already here. Thank you. Did you give this human energy permission to use the rods? Thank you. Is that somebody related to Sebastian's case? Sebastian? Um, that's interesting. Thank you for coming. That's really nice. Are you able to hang out just for a little while we take a break? Okay. Are you tired of answering these questions? No? Do you want us to ask you anything sort of different than other people? Did I just hear you say, nope, hold on? Did I just hear you say, ask more about how I'm feeling now? Okay. So after a break, we can do that? Thank you, sir. Okay. I'm going to set them down for now, clear them. Hold on one second here. Be right back. Okay, back. My vampire babies are resting. Um, yes, I did. I asked if we should read quickly, my version of quickly, I don't know, Maddie or Sebastian, and they chose Sebastian, and then um, human energy grabbed the rods, and at least as of right now, it seems like he's visiting, which surprises me when that happens. Um, Pixie, I didn't see your question, so when I pick them back up, I'll ask that one, that question about the crash. I don't think so. That's not the feeling I get. How far am I lagging, Pixie? How are they under each breast? It only can be on one side. Oh, okay. So they're not at the same time. That's good. Yeah. Oh, Claudia, here, I'll cover that real quickly here. And then actually, because everybody's tired, and stuff, I may stop and then come back like tomorrow and do Sebastian. I'm gonna double check with the rods if that's okay. Um but so my infectious guy, right? Because I've had them pretty much since like late April, and they've done actual nerve damage, and but it's associated with having had COVID. If you have already autoimmune issues of any kind, right, any of the conditions that fall under that umbrella, and you have been either mildly or severely exposed, um, they're starting to track that it's a breakthrough from COVID. Well, yeah, he doesn't want, Lord, he doesn't want shingles. My gosh, they're so painful. Yeah. I don't think so, but I'm going to ask that question before we close out. I'm going to double check and make sure like Sebastian is okay to come back tomorrow because I'm surprised he came. I'm going to do that here real quick, just pointing these away from the tech because it'll just make it faster. Hi there. Do you love and respect God? Thank you. Oh, this is human energy. Yeah. Can I please speak with angelic energy just for a moment to get solid answers from my guides? Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude to you. It's lovely that you're visiting. Mm. Oh, do we have angelics? Hello, thank you. Is it rude of me to ask for you guys? No. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm pointing at the tech funny, so let's try this. Okay. Um, First question is, can I ask one more question about Carly? Okay. Pixie would like to know, the kid that came to the house, is that the crush that Carly had? No. Was the crush male? Okay. Yes. Not that it matters, but I keep seeing something different. Is the crush trans or non-binary? Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's why it was confusing. Um, was that a problem in the house? Like, did that cause problems? No. Okay. And now, can I ask another question about Sebastian? Thank you. Oh, he has visited, hasn't he? Would it be acceptable to postpone this part of the reading to either later in the day today or late tomorrow night? Yes. Okay. Um, am I being rude? Was it difficult for him to come? No. Now, I didn't ask for him, so I'm going to assume, does that mean angels brought him in? Thank you. Oh, did I hear you right? He really likes staying on top of this. He has interest in law enforcement. Oh, that's interesting. So well, let me just ask this because I care. Like, is he okay and safe and with God? Yes. I'm glad. Are you happy and do you feel loved? Yes. I'm really glad. So we can ask harder questions and do readings our next stream with you. Is that okay? Yes. And you would be willing to come visit again? Yes. You like my birds? That's so cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I do. I have 3. That's what you're talking about, right? My friends? Do you do you come visit everybody that reads for you? No. I heard you say a lot. Do you go to a lot? No. Well, I mean, so many people are interested in you. Like, do you think you've visited 100 people about this? Not quite. Like 50? Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for coming to help me because I don't know if you probably know a lot more than I do. I don't do cases like this kind of stuff very often. So I'm surprised that you're here. Did you say yes? He said, I'm going to help you work the case. Thank you. Do you like being a teacher now that you're um, in a position where you can be? Thank you. That's good. All right. Is it okay to say goodbye now? I don't want to hurt your feelings. Um, would it hurt your feelings to say goodbye now? No. You gonna go? Are you with the angels? Yeah. And other humans too? Yeah. Did you said other kids? Yeah. Well, gosh, I'm so glad you're here, and I'll do my very best. Do you think, because I never even know for sure, do you think I'll be on tomorrow night and we'll be talking? Yeah, you're hard to forget, right? Okay, good. Okay, okay. Is there anything else I should ask you right now? Just say thank you, you said. Did you say just say thank you? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Um, Angels, could somebody please? Okay. Are we done for the night? Yeah. He's really going to come back tomorrow. That's so fantastic. He's so sweet. It was lovely to meet you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Can we close out? Shall we close out? Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys so much for your help on the rods. Thank you for all of the blessings. Thank you for keeping everyone safe and protected when we utilize these tools. I'm going to clear them and put them back for now. Where is my little case? Okay, well, I'm going to clear them and set them here for now, I guess. Hold on. Okie dokies, artichokies. Let's see. Heard a lot of people who have them. Screen. Cat, what did that mean? Screen. Pixie, have you been doing crafts lately? Oh, yeah. Okay, a minute or so lag. Okay. Okay, made Halloween stuff. Claudia. Oh, cat, because my screen was off. Yeah, no, I didn't because I didn't expect that to happen. I was just seeing like I didn't put it back on because it the readings are a little harder. They don't come as fast. I need to figure out my setup here because when it's by this tech, like this camera overhead and stuff, it interferes. And so I just wanted to like move quickly since he turned up and just see like um if it was okay to postpone because like if he really would like to talk, I would like to like give him time rather than when we're all tired and have you guys be able to have questions and things too because my god, I did not expect that, but he is so sweet. He is so sweet. I didn't expect him to be awful or anything, right? Of course, but he is so sweet. And he says he had, I don't know if this has ever been said of him. I'm curious now, but has interest in solving cases. And I don't know if that's just like, since what's happened or what, but he doesn't visit everyone, but he visits the people that he thinks are nice and the people that want to learn new things. That stuff was so sweet. That is sweet energy. Like, I mean, I always felt like difficult my Aunt Fanny. I mean, of course, like, when they talk about challenges, of course there were probably challenges, but when they would say he was difficult and you'd see the images of him and hear his dad talk about him and stuff, and it was like, that is not true. Like, um, so like, I don't know. But I mean, like, I meet a lot of spirits and like, I don't think most of them are never mean, sometimes cantankerous, but like that, I mean, he was sweeter than Summer. Like he was sweeter than Summer. The other person that felt about that sweet was Rachel Morin. That was so, oh gosh, like I've got like hearts in my eyes. That was so sweet. Like, so I guess what we're doing now is like to be continued because everybody's tired and it's 6:15 in the morning and rather than burning myself out in one night, I'll just come back tomorrow and then hopefully earlier because I think I've got my camera situation resolved. At least I believe so. Okay, here, hold on. I need to put some crystals on some of these cards real quick. I need to clear these because I used them a lot.
Okay, we'll put this here. We're going to need these tomorrow. Okay. And then we'll put these things right here. Okay, somebody just said I need to move my center deck. Use it tomorrow? Okay, for mothers. Okay, for mothers that are good and bad. Okay, gotcha. Heard you. Okay. Oh yeah, cat. I'm sorry. Like you both, two of you are at 7:15. Good golly. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. I am looking forward to being here more. I'm probably going to leave this up even though it's long and rambly, and then maybe edit tomorrow just to take out the pieces. So maybe we can break it down into sections or something to be more palatable. But for now, it's just going to stay up. And thank you guys for hanging out. Love and light. And anybody that sees this in retrospect, please come see us tomorrow. We're just sort of practicing with cases. Like we might talk more with Pixie tomorrow because she knows about some of my practicums in private, and that we're having success. So we're going to do a little more publicly. And but then of course, readings are always available. My new business manager wants to make sure that I point that out. And everyone, well, tonight I had been hoping to do like 10:30 or 11 my time. I don't really think it's going to be earlier than that. Like I would love to think that, but and honestly, anytime I've done anything before like 9 p.m. my time, unless it's like in the afternoon, right? But like anything before 9 my time, people don't come. So I think 10:30 or 11 is the goal now that the camera's fixed, because that's the original goal tonight, and then stuff happened and it was supposed to be at 1, and then the cameras flipped out. So yeah. But yeah, we'll make it before midnight for sure. Um and then even if we go, like, this has been almost 4 hours, like even if we go almost 4 hours, right, then it'll be more like 3, not 7:15. Even I don't want 7:15. So all right, everybody take care. Love and light. Readings are available both on lives and in private. Venmo, Cash App, information in the box. Love and light, and take care of yourselves.